All right, welcome back, ladies. We are super excited to be here with Traci Hill. Welcome to the program, Traci.
Hello, glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So Traci is going to be talking about amplifying your voice. Speak up and end up a woman up, which is her organization. Traci is a mompreneur and a subject matter expert in professional development strategies. She's backed by 20 years of starting and revamping staffing and sales offices on a national level. She successfully led businesses and the people who power their success to surpass what some called unattainable goals in record time. Traci created new strategies that grew market share and increased profit margins while advancing individual careers. In growing these national offices, Traci consulted Fortune 500 companies, nonprofits, and federally contracted entities on finding, closing, and retaining professionals from associates to C-level executives. 12 years ago, Traci founded AWOMANUP to facilitate professional development opportunities that encourage women to amplify their voices on all of life stages, because she knows from overcoming personal and professional hurdles that a woman has the power to alter her circumstances. So Traci, you are a powerhouse. I cannot wait to hear what you have for the audience. Do you want to tell them a little bit though about how you came to be so passionate about working with women on this level?
So yeah, when I was coming up, I didn't feel like I had a voice. You know, people came to me for solutions all the time, even when I was young, and I was always successful at work. It wasn't until I didn't realize I didn't have a voice, which is what we do at AWOMANUP, is help women amplify their voice on all stages, right? Whether they're talking about being at the conference table or on a stage or whatever. But I never felt like I had a voice. And I didn't even know I didn't have a voice until I had to figure out how to do some things for myself, right? And that came when my ex-husband, my baby daddy, uh, he was, my kids were in elementary school, and there was a knock at the door, like a lot of really, really loud knocks at the door early in the morning. And come to find out, the federal marshals were there to come get him.
Ooh.
Yes, girl.
Ooh,
And
that's not, I mean, I was like, what on earth is it going to be? That is not what I thought it was going to be. Okay.
it wasn't a bill collector. It was the man collector.
Oh, no.
They came to get him. And it was absolutely horrifying. So I had two young children, and I had no idea that this was what was going on. When they took him away, and I have a TEDx talk about this, it's in the book chapter that we did. But when they took him away is when I realized I was really alone, that all of a sudden the person that I trusted I couldn't trust him at all. Oof. And I couldn't believe the things that I found out while he was in, a nice little Bastille. The things I found out because he was handling all of our financial business because they took him for white collar crimes. Oh. I call him Mini Madoff.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yes, whatever. So in that time, I realized that I had to start thinking for myself on all levels. That I had to make sure that I was okay all the time. Right. And I could not leave that up to someone else. Even if you have a partner, you still have to make sure that you cover your bases, because you just never know what can happen. God forbid death, God forbid marshals, God forbid, whatever might come knocking at the virtual or real door, you know what I mean? Right. And so it really, really made me realize just how much I needed to stand up for myself and speak up for myself. And there were things that were happening, but I couldn't put my finger on them. So that's really how I came up with AWOMANUP. I really felt like and every time I opened my mouth and told somebody about any aspect of what was going on, they were like, oh my God, girl, what? How did you survive that? You don't look like you've been through that, blah, 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 And so I ended up just coaching women, just by happenstance. And then I also, as a profession, was coaching women all the time when it came to their salaries and negotiating, their promotions and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of women they're great, but we're just not speaking up for ourselves at work or at home, right? We're not vetting our employer. We're not asking for what we're worth. We're not saying to our spouse, hey, I need XYZ. I need to understand, I should have done some more research on my then husband, right? I should have found out all that stuff was online, girl. He had all this stuff, the criminal records are online. He had a criminal record. Okay.
I totally had that with a girlfriend of mine. Like, she told me who she was dating and I looked him up literally to find a picture. And I was like, oh girl, do you know? Because this is not good. This is not good.
No bueno. So I'm now married to a law enforcement person.
Total 180, total 180.
Like, look, okay, you've been vetted by the state, the feds, and everybody else. I know you're not a criminal.
Wow.
So yeah, but so it's been great. And I've been really, really blessed to feel like I'm in a place now where I can be a resource for women. You know, I've been in corporate America. I've worked at some of the top companies in the country. I've consulted managers on all levels in those organizations. I can tell women how to make more money. I can tell them what to say when they get to the table. So many times we get to the table, we don't even know what to say when we get there. How do we articulate? Okay, now we're in the room, but now you got to say something. You have to make sense. You have to look and talk and act like the person who's supposed to be there. If you're a wallflower, once you get in the room, what's the point, right? So I have one woman that I'm coached and she's on a VP track at a large company, and she wants to know how to articulate her messages better at the conference table, right? I have women who are, you know, having all kinds of situations where they want to understand how to articulate what they're selling from the stage or off the stage. You know, what's their, and we're always selling in life, ladies, always. Whether we're trying to figure out whether or not we're selling to go to McDonald's or Wendy's, you know, who has the best fries, who has the better burger, right? We're selling all the time. And so we're having to sell all the time when it comes to selling ourselves, our services. We have to look at ourselves as a service at work. So we're not feeling so much like we're asking for anything. You know, we bring certain things to the table. We need to articulate that in a way where we're not looking like we're thirsty and we're very, you know, hello, and make sure that we ask for what we are worth. What are we bringing to the table? And the same thing in your relationships. I know what I bring to the table in my marriage, and I have certain expectations there as well. So we just have to learn to do that. And once you do it, it is so freeing. You feel so much weight lifted because you're now able to say, I asked for that. And guess what? When you get it, you realize you ain't gonna die because you asked. You live through the ask. And you have some more money and maybe a few more date nights and jewelry or whatever it is you want to ask for.
Yeah, I love that, right? You lived through the ask. And like you said, you know, honestly, you know, it's a huge thing. You know, I know that there is a wage gap for men and women and things like that. But one of the biggest things is, like you said, women not asking. We don't know how to, we don't know, like you said, how to articulate what we're worth.
Nope.
Don't know how to, once we get into that room, how to show up in that room, right, to get what we want, and how to ask for what we want. And you're absolutely right. It's not just in the workplace. It's in relationships too, that women don't feel that they, like you said, that they have a voice and that they can ask for, you know, what they want to ask for. And so what I'm hearing from you is that one of the barriers to asking is basically like, you just feel like you're going to die if you ask for this and it doesn't happen.
Well, you're afraid of the no.
Right.
So I've worked at some of the big firms. I've worked at Meta and Capital One and all these other places. And I was a closer in some of those situations where my job was to, they had somebody really wanted to bring on board. My job was to negotiate a package to get those people on, right? So women would always say, well, I'll just, you know, if it was a day or two after I went and I was negotiating on their behalf, oh, I'll just take what they offered me initially. Yes. I said, let me do.
Ladies, this is why we're making less money. I'm just saying.
Just saying. So you made less money where you came from. Now you're going to make less money coming over here. You went through this whole 5 interview process, okay, to get to this company and beat out thousands of other applicants. If they make you an offer, it's because they want you to be there. It's not because they say, oh, we got somebody else. They're making you an offer. And it's okay to say, hey, and if they say no, but you got to at least ask. You got to at least ask. Don't just, I'll just take it. Men will apply for jobs that they ain't hardly qualified for and sell themselves up to the job and then negotiate like crap to get the money they want. Women won't apply, and this is statistically true, when they really, because they're like, well, I have 8 of the 9 things, so I'm not going to apply. Girl, apply for the job.
Right.
Because you never know who has less skills than you. And a lot of times all those things that they look for in those job title and the job description isn't even something that they need this required. There's a
Right.
difference between required and preferred. And all job descriptions are not written the same. So
That's
apply, honey.
and a lot of times, I mean, how many times have you ever applied for a job that had this laundry list of things,
Mhm.
and you didn't wind up doing a third of the things that were on the list or half the things that were on the list? Don't sweat.
No,
Don't sweat it, right?
no,
Go in with the things that you're super strong in,
right.
and really know what you bring to the table there, right? I mean, you're
Exactly.
absolutely right, Tracy.
And they're going
I,
to have to train you on a lot of stuff anyway.
right. And they're expecting that. That's
They're
actually okay. It's expected.
absolutely.
Totally expected.
So it's just go in. And then my whole thing is you can't say no if you don't even have an offer or an interview.
Mhm.
Go get the interview. And if they find that you're not the right fit for that job, ask about, hey, is there anybody else I can talk to about other opportunities? You know what I mean? Get in the room and ask the question. Don't not apply. Apply, possibly get the interview. And if you don't get the offer, then ask. Say it's not personal. Don't take it personally, ladies. You are a service to these companies. They want you to come solve a problem. And if your problem is project management and you bring it under budget and you have less resources and tools and you still get it done and that is your thing. And they want that there. That's why they're interviewing you. You know what I mean?
So
Don't think of yourself as, oh, I'm Susie Q. No, I'm a service and I'm good. And I'm going to quantify and qualify all the stuff that I've done. And then we're going to talk about how much you're going to pay for that service. How about
So,
that?
Tracy, how do you help women to quantify? Because I feel like that is a huge hurdle, right? We
Mhm,
don't know even
mhm,
where to begin to quantify, or like you said, to articulate
mhm.
our worth in some of these areas that we take ourselves for granted. And so how are we even gonna tell anybody that, oh, this is my magic? Because I don't even know what my magic is. So is there something that you do with your clients, or that you can take us through, that kind of
Yeah,
helps them get closer to clarity around that and realizing what their magic is?
sure. One of the things I do, and this is so funny that I'll talk to people who are like VPs and all that kind of stuff. Write down every single thing you do every day. And I know it's a pain in the ass, but just do it. Write it down. Every day is different because you're solving a different problem every day, probably, right? And then you'll realize just how much you really do. I think sometimes we look and we think about our general job or our general whatever, but if you write down everything you do, then you'll realize that you are a great resource for that organization. And that is huge. You know, if you start there, especially if you want to transition to another role or whatever, that is a huge, huge thing to do, is write everything down. The other thing I say to people is to remember that you're a LLC. You're a limited liability. You are not supposed to do everything all the time for everybody. And I know we're women think we're super women, supposed to fry it up in the pan and bacon and this and all that kind of stuff. No, okay. I'm not working all day coming home and cooking, okay? And don't look for me to do it.
Oh
That's
my
why
God.
Uber Eats, okay? But so my whole thing is remember that you only have so much capacity. You know, when you go there, they're not asking you to solve problems. They're asking you to do something in a lane that they want you to be in. There's so many components and cogs in the wheel. You're one of them and you're helping them move. So don't think that you have to do everything. Sell what you've done well. Talk about that. Quantify it. Not just, oh, I'm a project manager. Was it on budget? Was it under budget? Did you have resources taken away from you? Did you it's amazing how those conversations help women understand just how valuable they are. And I'm saying, please don't take it personally. That is really, really, really probably the biggest thing I would say is if you talk about yourself in third person, maybe, you know, like sometimes I had to do it too and say, well, this is how much this cost. This is the value of that. Not, well, this is how much I charge for my, well, this is the value. This is what it is. And just sit back and just wait for somebody to say yes or no.
Yeah.
That's it.
I,
So
I love it, because you're absolutely right. And I like what you said about quantifying, like you said, so you're not just a project manager. Was it on budget? Was it under budget? Was it faster than expected, you
Right.
know, did you have limited resources, but you still met your deadline, right? Like, what is that?
Exactly.
And then, you know, like you said, yeah, kind of, what is your zone of genius, and stay in that lane.
Right.
It's
And you'll be surprised that when you list everything, how much more you've done. But
totally.
because we have to wear multiple hats, because no 9 to 5 is 9 to 5, right? And so you have to, sometimes you're staying late, you're taking on extra projects, you're doing all kinds of things to get wherever you want to go and to get extra skills. So you want to talk about those things too. You're not always doing what's inside of your job description. I mean, if you're in the mail room and you're sorting mail, and then one day the mail sorter machine didn't work and you had to hand sort certain stuff, hey, you need to write that down. I can hand sort mail and I can use the mail sorting machine, right? And if they're paying $40,000, $50,000 to get mail sorted, then that's how much you can do. And hey, I can get a little bit more because I can hand sort, whatever. But all of it is something. You're solving a mail sorting problem. There's a receptionist. They need the phones answered. How much are they willing to charge to get their phones answered?
Right.
Not about you. Don't take it personally. It's a service they need to have filled.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I have done accounting, right? And I've done accounting for small business, but I've done accounting for construction. So I've done WIP accounting, right? So when I go and I'm like, oh, I've done accounting, right? Okay, I've done WIP accounting, right? I've done percentage completion, right? Accounting, and I've done Davis-Bacon payroll. Now, a company might not know what Davis-Bacon payroll is, but it's just that, like, well, damn, like that's, I don't even know what that is, right? So
that's when you tell them, what did that solve for that company?
Yeah.
So you don't just say what you did, you talk about what that solved.
Yeah.
What solution did that software or whatever it was, what did that solve? Did it get it faster? Was it quicker? Were you, whatever it was, you have to talk about not just did you do it, but how was the solution? What was the solution that was so great that you solved for them with that particular skill set?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So Traci, I have like 1 or 2 minutes, and then I want to talk about your free gift. So is there anything else that's super important that you want to be sure we cover before we talk about your free gift and your VIP gift?
I guess I really just want to say to women, I really want them to just amplify their voices and realize they're not going to die if they do it, right? I mean, Beyonce has an alter ego. I think she's Queen Bee or I don't know. She has a Sasha's Fierce or something. I can't remember. But anytime Beyonce has to have an alter ego, and she one of the baddest chicks out there, okay, then it's okay for us to have fears. It's okay for us to be insecure. And so just realize that just being just talk in third person, then third party. Realize that everybody has insecurities, even the person who's interviewing you, even your spouse, everybody has something. So you've been through something, you're great at whatever you do, understand that, and just don't be afraid. Be transparent. You'll be surprised at what you'll get if you ask for it. You'll be so surprised, and I just want people just to ask the questions, and now we don't have a whole lot of excuses, because now you listen to me, so you can go to Woman Up and come to me and I can help you, right? You can Google some stuff. We got the internet. Ain't nobody got no excuses and not to understand how to move their lives forward. Okay. If you want it, you can get it. Okay.
I love it. So you have a free gift for the audience. If they go to awomanup.com, which we put in the chat, you have a quiz they can do.
So when you go to the top of as soon as you log on, you'll see a little banner. It says quiz, click it. Take the quiz. It's called Know Your Worth. You'll get your results back, okay? And if you want to talk about those results, we can, but you're automatically entered into a raffle to get one of several self-care packages, right? And it comes with a Woman Up, some swag too, so
Oh, perfect.
Yes. So that's it. And then we have a VIP gift, and we'll be we'll send that out too as well. But that's going to be in reference to a class that we're doing. And so I definitely want to make sure they get that. We'll send that out as well.
Yeah, awesome. So if you guys haven't already upgraded to VIP, you definitely should. You'll not just get the recording of this talk, but all the talks, as well as free gifts from our speakers valued at tens of thousands of dollars at this point. So we have a huge, this VIP gift bundle is just growing, growing, growing. And so Traci is going to contribute to that as well. And so when you guys get your VIP gift email, it will be in there so you guys can access Traci's free gift. So Traci, it has been so much fun chatting with you. I love what you're about and how you're really empowering women to step up, you know, amplify their voice, say something, ask for what you want. You're not going to die. It's going to be okay.
You're gonna live.
It's gonna be all right. Right. And I love that you're really encouraging women to do that, because there is no reason that we should be making less money or having less love or having less of what we want in life. No. So any final words for our audience before we head out to hear our final speakers? Guys, I think we have, are we on our one? We're on our last, we have one more track of speakers, and then we have our wrap-up call. You guys have got to come to the wrap-up call, yes, because everyone will be allowed to come on screen and speak and interact with each other and interact with the speakers. So you have to come to the wrap-up call. It's going to be a blast. Great. So any final words before we skedaddle off to our next speakers?
Well, I would just say, keep your head up, because a head down can't hold a crown. And I always want to ask you, what are you a woman up to?
I love that. I love that. What are you a woman up to? Kelly Sabas in the audience says, this has been great. Thank you again so much for joining us, Traci. And we hope to see you on the wrap-up call, and all of you guys as well. We'll see you on the next talk in just 5 minutes.
Thank you.